for this session, we want to look at protecting your worksheets. It's also a property of the cell. We want to look at simple formulas. Yesterday, we looked at the cell referencing, the cell range. So we'll be looking at simple formulas. What makes a formula simple? And what differentiates a formula, a simple formula from a complex formula? So what do we need to know about complex formulas? And then we'll just look at some simple functions. There is a difference between formula and functions in Excel. And all these things are things that help Excel do what is well known for. You know, it can speed up your work. So we are going to be looking at these things. This is very simple. I just developed this straight. And like we discussed yesterday, this is not a table per se, but it's a table. Like we discussed yesterday, there are some functions that we can use a table to do, but those functions cannot happen here because this is not an official table recognized by Excel. Okay, so I'm going to just change this, my serial numbers. Remember, Excel has very smart, intuitive ability. It can predict what you want to do, and it can make suggestions based on what it sees you to do. You know, so let me just say some of these things. I think I mentioned them that last time. If you want to enter numbers, if you enter the first two numbers, for instance, and you select the two of them, Excel will definitely suggest, it's going to guess that you want to generate numbers that the difference is 111. So when you click on this bottom part of this selection and you click and hold and drag down, say I'm dragging up to this point, it has serialized this 1, 2, 3 based on the first two selections you did. So you gave it a hint. If I write 0 here, 5 here, and I select these two, Excel is enough to say that whatever you want to, the numbers you want to generate now are differences of 5. You see 5, 10, 15, 20. If you write 10 here, and here you write 20, Excel is smart enough to know that the next numbers will be generated by differences of 10. Right, so these are some intuitive abilities that Microsoft Excel has. Now, I delete this. Excel also has the ability to note that this, of course, this is a very, we know Monday, all right? So when we drag down, it's going to give you the remaining days of the week. It will assume you want to type the days of the week. And the same thing, if you write month, it's also going to tell you, okay, I know month is for Monday, then the other rest are small in their short forms. The same thing with January, the months of the year, all right? If you click here, and you click here, and you begin to drag down here, that's this a kind of flash fill, it knows that you are writing the months of the year in full. If you decide to write it in small, Excel is also smart to guess that you want to write the rest in small letters, in short forms. Okay, so the same thing happens in most things. For instance, you say this is part 1, and you say you want to drag down, it's going to repeat them part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, just like that. The same thing if you want to write week 1, some of us that do budgets, week 1, week 2, week 3, just like that. You don't really need to begin to type every one of those things one by one. Okay, so I just felt I should let us know these are some of the properties, the cells that make up a spreadsheet that eventually make up our workbook that we know as Microsoft Excel. Okay, so like I said, this is a worksheet, is a spreadsheet, and I have two. Yesterday we discussed on how you can group sheets together and then perform things at once, and it duplicates across several sheets, 100, 200, as many as you want to have on a workbook. So today we want to look at, there are times you will make inputs and you are giving the template to people to work on, and you may have imputed formulas in some point and you don't want that to be distorted because it's going to help you to analyze things even at a glance. And so you want to protect those cells or range of cells. So there is need for you to protect it. Now, when you open a new spreadsheet like I am doing now, each cell by default is locked. Each cell by default is locked. Now, if I have selected this one, I want to find out if this cell is locked or not. Now, I will go to my format dialog command. I can use Control-1. I just pressed Control-1. You may not be seeing my keyboard, but I pressed Control and I also pressed 1, and it brought out this. And then this is format cells. Now I want to go straight to the protection here. Remember, we are dealing at the cell level. I want to protect the cell. When I click here and I see here, this is the default status. It is locked. Now, what this means is, if I go straight to my review tab here on my ribbon, and I click it, and I want to protect this worksheet, and I click here, there are options for me. What do I want anybody who is working on this to be able to do when I lock it? By default, this may be selected. I want the person who is working on this to be able to select locked cells. I want the person also to be able to select unlocked cells. If we check down, we will notice that these are the only things that are highlighted here. Okay? Now, for the sake of what we are doing, I'm not going to put a password here. If I put a password, it's going to ask you to confirm, because it's only when you confirm that you are sure that this person is conscious of what the password that he or she is imputing. So I am not going to use any password, so I'm going to go ahead and okay it. Now, if I decide to double here to make inputs, it's telling me that the cell or chart you are trying to change is on protected sheet. To make a change, you need to unprotect it. You might be requested to enter a password. For instance, now, if I go to unprotect, it will not ask me for password because I did not provide password. For instance, I've okayed this. I'm clicking on protect my worksheet. When I click this, it is open. So when I double click, I'm able to type things inside. I'm going to repeat that. I am going to click here to protect it. I'm not going to put a password, at least for this time. I'm going ahead to click. Now I click here, it's the same thing. I come this way, I click here, it's the same thing. So all my cells in this worksheet, by default, they are locked. Now, what it means for a cell to be locked is when you come and protect it, nobody can make input into it. when I come to make any changes on any cell, to make entries or make changes, I will not be allowed because it is locked. So for you to protect a cell or a group of cells or range, first, that cell needs to be locked. And again, the spreadsheet needs to be protected. So those are the two things that must happen. So let's go back to, I just opened here to let us know that this is a new worksheet, which by default is locked. Now let's go to the one we are working at now. I may have worked on this cell, on this spreadsheet. I may have altered the status, the default status of the cell. So I need to check. So how do I do that? I'm going to click at this point where my column bars and the row bars meet, which is here. I have selected the entire spreadsheet. And I'm going ahead to click Control 1. I'm pressing Control 1. You see at this point, the locked is ticked. That means all the selected cells are locked. Now, if there are cells that are locked and some cells are not locked, you are going to have a different, here is not going to be ticked and it's not going to be empty. You are going to have something there. It's like a shade. Now, let me show that. I'm going away from here. Now, let me just choose this point here. And I'm going to highlight this point. Now, because they are selected, I want to look at the status of these cells. So I'm going ahead to press Control 1 to pop up my format cell dialog. I'm going to remove this check, which means I have not locked these ones. So this operation, I'm going to use it to show two things. I'm okaying it. Now let me go ahead and check every one of them. I've selected the entire cells. I'm going ahead to look at my Control 1 to bring out this. You see what happened in this lock now. The box is neither empty nor checked. It has that shade telling you that in this your selection, there are some cells that are locked and there are cells that are not locked. So it's up to you to do what you want to do. If I go ahead and check, that means I am locking all of them when I press OK. If I go ahead and uncheck it, that means I am unlocking all of them. But if I want it to remain status quo, that is some are locked and some are not locked, I simply cancel. So when I pop up my format again, it's where we met it when we came to this entire spreadsheet. So this is the number one thing I want to do. Number two thing is I'm going ahead to protect. Remember that this point is not checked, is empty. That point of locked is empty, it's not checked, while the rest are checked, which means every other cell here is locked. These highlighted ones are not locked. Now let's go ahead and go to our review tab. I'm going to protect it, but I'm not going to put anything here. I'm going ahead to click OK. Now I want to change this later now to something else. It's already warning me I cannot make change this. But what happens here, I can make changes here because the cells here are not locked, they are unlocked. They are unlocked. All these ones that we have, but when I come here, it's telling me I can't do anything here. So this is how you protect your worksheet, making reference to those areas that you want people to make input in. I'm sure that some of us may have experienced that when working with tools given to us. Some points, you are not able to make entries. So if the person that sent the template to you made a mistake somewhere, that mistake is stuck with you until you request for a change. That person may give you the password, or he may say that he's going to review the template and share back to you. So I'm going to unprotect it, and then, okay, now let me still go ahead and protect. Looking at this point now, we say we can select locked cell, we can select unlocked cell. So let me go ahead and protect. What this means is, remember that they are locked cells. So I'm able to select them now, even though they are locked. And anything you select, you can also copy. Right. Here, this is not protected. I can also select it, and I can also copy it, because you set that at that point when you were locking. Now, assuming I say this person should not be able to select locked cells, I have unchecked it, I have okayed it. So this is the point now. I'm trying to, can you see, I'm trying now to select these locked cells. I am not able. I'm trying hard to select them, I can't. Okay, but if I come here, I can select any one of them. That is because the permission that I set here only permits only the unlocked cells to be selected. It's the same thing that applies here. So you are not able to format columns, you're not able to format rows, you can't even cite. All right, so I just needed to let us know this. Okay, so let me undo a lot of things. There we go. Right, so we are back to status quo, but not completely status quo, because the entire cell need to be, okay, so all the entire cells are locked. Great. Now, I want to introduce to us simple formulas. I mean, we've been using formula, we've been operating formulas in Excel. It has been helping us to do a lot of calculations, but we may not know there is a difference, or there are two types of formulas, simple and formulas, and complex formulas. Now, a simple formula is an Excel formula that contains only one mathematical operation. The mathematical operations like plus, that's addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, maybe exponential. Okay, so when a formula is just showing one operation, is a simple formula. Now let me go, or let me scroll up. Here we have simple, here we have complex, right? So here, an example is, let's say we have, let me use 25, 10. Okay, so let me just come over here, and now I also want to introduce to us a function called rand between. I want to generate some numbers, and I don't want to be typing, I just want to generate it. It's rand between. This function helps us to generate random numbers. And it's very simple. I think it's about the simplest function that anybody can use. I'm going to use it to generate some, okay, let me just use here. Let's use this point. So I want to generate some numbers in this yellow portion of my sheet. And I'm going to type rand. See, you have that. As the moment you begin to type all the functions that that rhyme with your letters will show up. So this is the one I'm interested in. So it's asking you between which range. So I need to specify the lowest range and the topmost range. So in this case, let me put 10, and I end that with a comma, and then it goes next to top. What is my topmost? Let's say 50. I close my bracket. So it's going to generate a number between 20 and 50. So I simply drag here and double click here to get the rest filled. All right. Now I want to, so this is run between. I'm going to delete this. So simple formula, like we say, an example is equals to, I want this to be added to this, to be added to this. I enter, is 89. Now, when you have this run between and you don't want it to continue to show, there are two things I can do. I can copy it. Then I can come to this same place, right click. I want to paste now. I'm going to paste number. All right, so what I simply did, here was to type my equal sign, and I'm going to type rand. I know a function that I want to use, and that function is called rand between. So when I begin to type my R, all the functions that begin with R are arranged alphabetical order. Rand, N, D. As you continue to type the full name, it begins to reduce the options. This is the one I'm interested in. I hit my tab to activate the function. And the function is asking me, you know, the thing about Excel functions is that it gives you on-screen tips that will help you, and they are displayed on the screen. And these tips, they are floating in the sense that I can move it. So once I bring this in and it comes to this 4 arrows, I can move it. As you can see, I am moving it now. If I like, I'll leave it here. So you will see the highlighted option now. The detail it wants me to provide is what is the bottom of the range. My bottom is, okay, let's say I want to generate a random number between 50, that is my lowest, and 100, which is my upper limit or the top limit. And when you are done with that function, each time you make use of a function and you are done with that function, you close the bracket. You close with a bracket. So I'm closing with a bracket, and look, the moment I close the bracket, this on-screen tip disappears. It has disappeared because I have communicated to Excel that I'm done with that. So it should be able to give me my result now. When I enter, it has generated 79, which is a number between 50 and 100. So just like any other function, any cell is able to duplicate or copy across to the other, making use of relative cell referencing. Although in this case, we are not making reference to any cell. But if anything is happening on this E, it's also happening on the other rest because we copied it from that point. And I told us that because it is a randomly generated, they are randomly generated numbers. Each time I do any operation, I have activated that function to randomly generate another set of numbers. So if I say equals to something and I'm typing, of course, it's going to tell me it's a wrong thing, but these numbers have changed. Pressing my F9, remember the function 9 on your keyboard keeps changing it. It's to let you know that this is an operation and the numbers keep generating. Now, this may give you, it may distract you or it may cause you to run into an error or confuse some people. So what we need to do is to remove that function. So what we do is when we copy it, sorry, this and that, I haven't got to this point. If I copy it, and I'm going to paste it the same place again. So what I need to do now, I'm right-clicking and I'm picking. See, I didn't click this paste here. Rather, I'm clicking paste number. Now it becomes this. Yes, after getting the first number, I entered to end the function. Whenever you end your function, whenever you're done with entering your function, you close the bracket. You have told Excel that you are done. So when you enter now, Excel will now give you the results of the function that you have entered. So we entered the bracket, closed it, and then when we hit the enter button, we are now requesting Excel to give us the reports or the result of our input. So right now, these are no longer run between numbers or randomly generated numbers. They are now the numbers generated. And so here, we try to demonstrate what a simple formula is. And we say a simple formula is a formula that contains only one type of mathematical operation. So in this case, we have decided to use plus. Another example is this can mean this times this times this. Enter. Another one could be equals to this minus this. Enter. Another one could be this is equals to this divided by this. These are all simple formulas. If I look at them, it's containing only plus here. Here is containing only multiplication. Here, subtraction. Here, division. So these are all examples of simple formula. Now, a complex formula is a formula that contains more than one type of operation. So if I'm going to have a formula that is asking multiply and then add, or add and subtract, it's going to give me a complex formula. And then for complex formula, there is an order of operation. We can all remember way back in secondary school, or was it even in primary school? I think some people, okay, the last session, some people say they saw it, they came across it in kindergarten. That is talking about board mass. Board mass. I'm sure we all have heard about this. All right. Let me bold it. Let me give it something like this. Board mass, brackets of division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Now, this applies to when we are dealing with our mathematical, the physical one, and not the one on Excel. Although it's the Excel order of operation follows the same suit. But however, let me copy this. Remember what I said? I usually will be doing a lot of things that we did in the past. I'll be using them in our operations so that we can reinforce learning. I simply highlighted this, held down my control button and picked it. What I did was this. I selected, I want to make a copy of this. So I selected what I want to copy. I am holding down my control button and I'm coming at this edge. You see the cursor has changed to an arrow with a small positive icon. I'm clicking and dragging it away from there. And I'm bringing it here and I'm releasing my mouse before releasing the control. So I've made a copy. I didn't want to Control C, Control V. All right, so here I have P, E, M, D, A, S. All right, so there's something I want to explain here. Let me just get no fill. Let me get my font black. All right, so this and this, they fall into the same category. This and this, they fall into the same, another separate category, while these are on their own. All right, so let's just, let's give this one another shade. And then this one, okay, so let's pick this one and give it here. All right. So P here means parenthesis, which is almost the same thing as brackets. However, there is something here. This is exponential. Some of us may not have been dealing with operations in Excel that involve exponential. That's saying I want to get the answer of 5 raised to power 20. What is it? Excel can do that in less than 2 seconds. Here we have multiplication, we have division, we have addition, we have subtraction. Now the reason I indicated them in these bands is that even though multiplication is here before division, depending on how they appear in the formula, the one that is on the left will be performed before the other, but any of these will be performed before this. The same thing applies here. If your addition is coming before a subtraction function, the addition will happen before the subtraction happens. If the subtraction is at the before addition, the subtraction will happen before addition. So it does not necessarily follow that wherever these two occur, this will happen first. No. The one that comes first, they are in the same family. This one, they are in the same family. This one will happen before this one. All right, so we are going to be looking at some of the examples. Okay, like here, let me just show us this. So I'm going to paste these things on top of each. So I'm going to copy this. I'm copying that. I'm escaping. I'm double clicking here. I'm pasting that there. So we see that this is E20. Let's see the 20. So this is our 20 here. This is E20 plus F20 plus G20. And remember, we say Excel has different ways you can achieve anything you want. But whichever one that looks smarter for you, you do. For me, most times I wouldn't use plus. I will simply use equals to some of these. If they are all in the same straight line, I just simply do this. I enter. I'm getting the same answer here. Alternatively, I can say this is sum. Then I can click here, comma, comma, hit enter. I get the same thing. So just knowing what to do. For me, to click here, then go and type, hold shift, and then press plus, and then go another and pick again. For me, it is tedious. Rather than coming here, typing sum, and then go and just click and drag if they are in the same straight line, or just be clicking and be putting my comma. To you, whichever way you choose is best, just for your own choice. All right, so for here, we also got this. Remember, as I'm copying this thing to paste them, I am not copying together, sorry. I am not copying together with the equal sign. That's why it's able to stand. Otherwise, it will give you an error. So here now, I am copying just this, but I'm not copying together with the equal sign. And the moment you double click here and you do anything here, it's going to predict that maybe you want to drop it somewhere, and then it may begin to give you error. All right, so these are the things, just the examples. You see, it's giving you that now, but I'm going to escape. So by the way, when you do this thing, sometimes you don't know what you clicked. And then suddenly you click somewhere to begin to type, you see dashed lines. You begin to wonder what's happening. If you didn't do anything by deliberate action and you see those dashed lines, please press escape to disable whatever you activated unknowingly. You press escape. Okay, so these are the examples that we have just seen with a simple formula. All right, so let's bring our complex formula here. We are going to give 3 examples here. So an example of complex formula would be equals to, let's say, this multiplied by this minus this. This is a complex formula. Now, when we look at this is the simple thing that has happened is Excel has done the multiplication first. Excel has done multiplication first before subtracting G20. That's why we have this answer. However, there are times that you may say, well, I want this to be subtracted from this first before multiplying. So let me pick this and repeat it here. All right, so this is E20. I want to use E20. Let me see here. Okay, I want to repeat the same formula that we have here. So if I want to just get this same formula here, we all know what to do. Because these are all this thing. Let's see what happens. I am pressing my F4. I am entering to confirm that. So I simply complete this thing and drop it here. I have the same function, I mean the same formula here, looking at this. So I can now come back here, remove this, remove all of them. All right, so this is where we go. I'm having the same answer here. So let me remove this. My F4 removes all the dollar signs from the column. Another one removes them. Okay, I have to press it 3 times so that it can remove from all of them and enter. Now, what I want to prove now is, assuming that what you really had in mind was to do your subtraction first before your multiplication. Now, what you need to do, there are situations, and we are going to look at that. There are situations like that. So we put here, let's put our bracket here. So the introduction of the bracket has altered this. What you have done is you have subtracted G20 from F20. Now, when we look at G20, G20 is 78. You are subtracting 78 from 56. You are definitely going to have a minus. So when you multiply that minus amount by 61, you are going to get a minus. This is what happened here. So the introduction of this parenthesis has commanded Excel that this is what you want to do. You want to get this before you multiply. Now, an example of this is, let us just define things. This is my wage. This is the deduction. This is the profit margin. All right. So we said when somebody invests money, that person will get 10% of the profit. So now let me type a question here now that we're trying to solve. What is the profit coming to a worker who earns 50,000 naira but has a deduction of 5,000 naira to be made? Maybe to be made at source. I'm going to wrap this. All right. So this is the question that we are treating here. I hope you can see this clearly now.
Yeah.
So we assume this is the wage that is coming to this person. This is the deduction the person has to make. This is the 10%. Okay, what is the profit coming to a worker who earns 50,000 naira but has a deduction of 5,000 to be made at source? And assuming a percent profit is accruable. Or let me not put here, what is the 10% profit? What is the 10% profit? The 10% in that settles it. Coming to a worker who earns 50,000 but has a deduction of 5,000 to be made at source. So this is our table. And so we said, somebody might come to say, I am going to multiply my wage. I'm going to subtract my wage and then multiply by this 10%, which will now give us 49,500. So we say if you do this, this is going to give you a wrong answer because they are asking of what is the 10% profit. So this is not the 10% profit. Rather, the 10% profit should have been, first of all, I want to copy this. I want to copy this. I want to copy it here. I'm pasting here. What it should have been, let me use this thing here. Sorry. I think I'll be better off. Let me use this. Now, this is the same thing here, but we say this is wrong. The first thing that should have happened is, first of all, you need to remove this deduction so that you know the net that this person is putting in, so that it will now give you the profit, the 10% profit. When we enter, it is 4,500. So we know now that when we understand the way our Excel operates, we can actually impute our formula very well by introducing certain marks that will make our Excel operate the way we want. This is the same formula, but the introduction of this bracket has altered the order of operation. So that's what we try to explain here. The question is, what is the 10% profit coming to a worker? We're not talking about the total take home that the person will take. We're asking for what is the 10% profit. So the person might say, okay, 50,000 minus this. In his head, he say it is 45,000. And so 45,000, apply 10% to it, it should give you the answer. And then when he does this, and then he's getting this answer, is because Excel is handling the multiplication first before the subtraction. What he simply did was to multiply 10% of this, and then gets this. All right, so this is what we tried to explain. And then when we came to the other one, okay, I have deleted that. Now, let me create another table. I guess we can understand this question now. What we are told now by this question is, honor is the product of 1 month Jasper and pillar square. So do we have pillar? We have pillar here. We need to square it. Do we have Jasper? Yes, we have Jasper, but it's for a month. So which means whatever we have here, we need to convert it to 1 month. But here we have the number of months to be 10. So what it simply means is this is our H2, which is our pillar, square of the pillar, and we get the products of 1 month. So let's make the two different formulas now. So if we say this is equals to my pillar, which is squared, and a product of 1 month. This is my Jasper, 1 month. So because there are 10 months, I have to divide it by 10 to get for 1 month. I'm getting 1.6. Now let's see if we are going to get 1.6 also, if assuming we say this is equals to pillar squared multiplied by, I open my brackets and I click here so that I can get 1 month first by 10. Let's see if we are going to get the same answer. Okay, of course, we have the same answer here. Well, this one is not much of a problem because it's multiplication and division. It's multiplication and division. So whatever we do, if we do this one first, we are going to get 0.4. All right, so getting 0.4, and then you multiply it by 4, you get 1.6. Okay, so this may not, let's look for another complex, let's see. I'm trying to think of another question. Okay, I think the other thing that we may even consider here, because these are in the same family, multiplication and division, they are in the same family. Now, let's see if assuming definitely it would take care of this one first. It would take care of the exponential first. But let's say if we have can we have, this is multiplication. Just a minute, let me see if we introduce H32 minus, assuming we have minus, H32 minus. So here we have H32 minus H32 minus, okay? And here we still have H32 minus. Okay, so subtraction and in this case, we considered subtraction and division. Okay, assuming, let's see if we change these figures, we are still going to get the same answers. Sorry, we are still getting the same answers. Okay. Anyway, I will think about the different scenarios more, like we saw here, like we saw in this case. When we change the order of operation, we got different answers. So I will think of more detailed, complex formulas that will illustrate different answers when we introduce brackets or change the order of appearance of the operations. All right, so the other thing I want to... Yes.
Hello. I beg, I have a question on this PEMDAS, please.
On this PEMDAS?
Now, you said PEMDAS, yes.
Okay.
Parentheses and exponential, they are on their own. But the multiplication, division are together, addition and subtraction are together. What do you mean by that? If multiplication and division, for example, occur in a formula, do you say that it can either be division first or multiplication first or multiplication first and division first? Why are they together?
Now, this one, when the two of them occur in a formula, okay, let me see if I have, yes. Let me attempt something like this now. I have 200 minus 35. Let me not introduce this yet. Multiply by 100 plus.
Use small numbers so that we can.
So 2, 10 minus 5 multiply by 2 plus 5 plus 6 divided by 2. Let's just see if this works. You know, there are times, and I try to explain this, that you understand there are laws, but you may not experience them immediately. Okay? These are laws, so we may not be able to get this immediately. So I am going to copy this here, copy it here. Okay, so let me just change this one. Then let me use green here or purple here. So I am going to introduce equal sign here and get 3. I'm also going to introduce equal sign here and let's put a bracket here and let's see if we get the same thing. Okay, so we got the same thing here. So what if we put this thing here? Okay. So you now see that depending on the concept that you are coming to, remember that none of this and this, they are correct, and Excel is not telling you if there are errors in them, but it's giving you based on the understanding that you who is using the Excel, you know the order of operation, and so you have commanded Excel to operate in this order to give you what you want. That's why it's giving you this. Now, if what you want is, well, I'm looking at this now, my F36. If what we want to do is the difference between this and this, multiply it by 2. Maybe 10 is the ending balance, and then the 5 is your beginning balance, which means you need to know what was utilized or what is missing. Multiply it by 2. And then go ahead and add it by the whatever you get here, 6 divided by 2. If that is the concept you have, then you need to understand where you need to put your brackets. This is the same formula that we have here. It's the same formula, but here we told Excel, please, we want you to first of all get the difference between the beginning and the ending balance, and then multiply it by 2. Whatever you get, come now and add it with the result of this division, because division happens before addition. So going by this one here, what we have simply got is 10 minus 5. What we have got in here is 10 minus 5 is 5 multiplied by 2. Then minus 6 over 2. Isn't it? Now let's see here. Okay, this is plus. Sorry, this is plus. So we have solved the first bracket here, which Excel did. We are trying to find out how he got this. So we said this is 5 multiplied by 2, you get 10. Then whatever you have here, you add it to that. That's why you got 13. But when we look at here, Excel is looking at this and saying, I have to handle my multiplication. In this formula now, I have minus, which is subtraction. I have multiplication. I have addition, and I have division. Now, let's attempt to analyze what Excel did in this purple cell. What Excel did was, because PEMDAS multiplication happened before division, before addition and subtraction. Now, what happened was, it first of all handled this. So if you handle this, that means 10 minus 10 plus 3. What Excel did here was this 10 minus 10, because he has to work on this multiplication first. So this 10 minus this 10, so this will give you 0. And then when you come here, you have plus and division. Excel will deal with division first. So it dealt with this division, 6 divided by 2, you have 3. So because you have 0 here, you added it to 3, that's why you have 3 here.
Yeah.
But subtraction is the last. Why the subtraction happens before addition and division?
Good. That is why I told you that they are in the same family. They are in the same family. Addition and subtraction. Are you getting it? See, this addition, this multiplication happened first. Multiplication 2 times 5 is 10. Now let's answer that question. Here we have 10 minus 0 plus 6 divided by 2. Are you getting it? Let me shift this.
10 minus 0.
10 minus
10.
10.
It's not minus 0. It's 10 minus 10.
10 minus 10, yeah.
Okay, sorry, 10 minus 10. Good. 10 minus 10. So 10 minus 10 plus 6 divided by 2. Now, this is equals to 10 minus 10 plus 3.
No, 3. 3.
So
equals to 10 minus 13.
No, it cannot be now. See what I told you. Addition and subtraction, they are in the same family. But the one that comes first will be operated first. That's why I say they are in the same family. But the one that comes first will operate first. The same thing happens here in multiplication and division.
Okay.
So can we still say here 10 plus 3? That will be a negative sign. Okay.
So it depends on what you want to achieve. If what you want to achieve is to add before the subtraction, then you will introduce, once you introduce a bracket here, Excel will just obey you. Are you getting it? Excel will obey you, assuming we put equal sign now. It will give you -3. Excel will obey because you understand understand how it operates, the order in which it operates. So it will obey you. So at least this is a classical example of where addition may not come before subtraction because they're in the same family. We hinted that whichever one comes first, that one will be operated on. And it's good that we just encountered this because this has shown us a classical example where addition will where subtraction will happen before subtraction. Okay, so because our time has gone far, I really want to apologize for not noticing those charts. We would have handled them before now, but at least by now we know we have gotten more clarifications. So we'll be meeting later in the evening by 8 o'clock. I'm going to share the invites so that we can wrap up with the other functions. I actually thought we'll be able to round up with our function, but it's late now. So we'll briefly look at I think there are just 2 functions, and then we'll look at our layouts. So thank you very much for your patience. Thank you for your attendance.
Thank you so much,
sir. Before we go, sir.
Yes.
Before we go, sir. Hello.
With you.
Before we go, you know, I discovered that with Excel, it's better we do just one thing and know it very well than trying to cover all that we have to cover, and then we gloss over the issue of understanding. Because up till now, even with the video you sent to me, the how to group and paste something across and on group. I tried to do it myself. I could not. And in all these lectures, the most important thing to me is that one, because that is one thing that I do often. You understand? So let's go at a pace that we can all understand and practice it, and not just because that's yesterday when you were saying it was lovely, wonderful, I was enjoying it. But when I wanted to do it myself, it did not work for me. So we need to have an in-depth listening of it, like this PEMDAS that you explain now. Except somebody who is not paying attention, there's no way you will not understand, because you came to a level of 1, 2, 3, and so it became very clear. So please, let's do that instead of wanting to know so much when we know nothing. Please, thank you.
And he can also be giving us assignments as well. Each lecture assignments and share so that we can work and submit. From there, we also get them.
He said that he's going to give that one later. But see, Oga Capito, that English people video, you know, go they clear like your own. Do you understand? Those ladies speaking English, it doesn't work like your own. So please, let's try it with, no matter how bad, this one that you are teaching, getting this video is far, far more important to us than those other English ones.
Okay.
I would say, sir, it's not for assignment to be given at the end. It's supposed to be given at the end of each lecture. When you combine a lot of things, it will be confusing. When you finish a lecture, you're supposed to give an assignment. People will go back and demonstrate what they have learned.
Okay.
Not at the end of the whole lecture. Before I start giving.
All right. Thank you all for your feedback. I just want to respond. Omolola, you want to say something? Please go ahead and say, so that I can respond to all of them at once.
Okay, so maybe you should respond because mine is a question.
Okay, okay. I want to appreciate all of you. What we are doing now is a product of several considerations. We started this virtual training since 2015, and it didn't work when we finished, and then we sent assignment. Personally, I would prefer when I give the assignment, people have time, because people work, people have other engagements. I tell you, if I give you assignment now for you to finish and then come back within the next 2 hours, you wouldn't do it. I'm telling you, you will want to do it, but you won't have time to do it. And I don't feel happy when I give assignment, people don't do it. And they come and tell you how tight they are. I can't ignore that. I can't put a deaf ear to it because I also work. I have other engagements. I believe that people who are attending this tutorial, they are not attending this tutorial because they have the time. They are attending the tutorial because they just want to see how they can squeeze their time to get something that will help them in their work. Now, when we give us, like what we try to do now, our concept is we are going to have videos. And then we have Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to view them and to look at the works that we do. Usually it's one assignment, and that one assignment will touch on all that we have done. And it is not just per session. Now, if I give you an assignment and tomorrow is Monday, you are not able to do it on Monday, you make out time Tuesday or Thursday or Wednesday, but make sure you have time to attend to it. If you attempt it and you have issue, go to the Telegram and then say you attempted it, but you had this issue. I will respond within the week. So, and when you send it, I actually will request that you send them by Thursday, so that by Thursday, I can look at them, provide feedback before Saturday. It is not easy. If I have 20 persons that are on this tutorial, and I give you an assignment after each one, what is my focus? What is my objective of that assignment? Is it for you to do it and then me provide feedback? I won't be able to provide feedback to 20 persons within how many hours? And then we'll now come back again.
It is okay, sir. We understand you, sir.
You say? So
it's okay by me, sir. Take it be as you have said.
Now, for the other one, if you were physical training, when I conduct my physical trainings, after the first session, I give everybody assignment. You do it. I go around the table to check because we have time. Between 30 to 45 minutes, people are supposed to do, and we attend to them. And then that is done. So everything is wrapped up, and then we proceed again. But this is virtual. I really understand that you need to practice. So, but like you say, we'll make videos like the videos that we have done previously. I will see anyone that relates to what we have done. I will still share it with you so you look while I make others, because I discovered that as new sessions begin, there are things I will speak on the new session that I may not have spoken in the previous session. You know, so it will be good for you to also assess them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to forward those things to your WhatsApp lines, because I don't want to be flooding the Telegram with detailed videos that have already been pushed there. So I'll forward them to you so that any new one that I'm making, I will send it to the Telegram. Some of you say that you don't like Telegram because that is the only place that the features that we use are very, very okay with that. So I don't know how you'll be doing it, but we'll try our best. But the videos, sure, we'll make up and then share with us. So please bear with us.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So see you in the evening by 8. I'm going to share the invite now.